to do our last live of the year.
I know.
Yeah, so what we'll do, just jump right into it. Um, so hi everybody, those who are watching us now, those who will be watching us later. My name is Coach Jane Jogu. I am a transformational mindset coach. I encourage people to focus on the mind, on how they feed their mind, on how the things they think, the books they read, the movies they watch, because everything that goes in our minds affects how we do our activities, affect how we have conversations with people. It affects even the things we want to do, because if we feed ourselves with negative things, then negativity becomes a part of our lives. We feed ourselves with positive things, positivity becomes something that thrives us, that moves us forward. So, Coach Jay, you'll just give us your introduction and then we'll just dive into it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Joyceloyk, known as Dare to Glow Coach. I'm a confidence coach, and I'm super excited. I just became a full time, a full time ambassador for Coaching Mind, so that is exciting. Um, and as Coach Jay said, mindset coach. I am also a mindset coach. That's why we do these videos to empower you, to empower us also. While we make these videos, we're also empowering us
Mhm.
to broaden our mindset, to think more, because what you think is what you become.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is a very, very sensitive topic, but very important
Mhm.
because it's part of us every day.
Mhm.
So I'll dive into it and then let Coach Jay take on. So our topic is self-awareness. But first of all, what is self-awareness? When you look at the definition of self-awareness, it's the most important muscle you need.
Mhm.
It's like a muscle. You know what a muscle is. You can't live without having muscles. That's why some people exercise to
Mhm.
strengthen their muscles. And the more you strengthen your muscles, the more I feel, the more you are stronger, the more you become fit, you know.
Mhm.
So self awareness is also like a muscle. You need it. When you have that muscle, you are able to communicate well with others, improve your relationships with others. So, my simple definition of self awareness is the ability to focus on yourself. You focus on yourself. The word
Mhm.
itself is self awareness. So,
Mhm.
you focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, emotions align with your internal standards.
Mhm.
We all have standards, we all have values. But when we are self aware, we are able to live it out on the outside also. Back to you, Coach Jay.
That's a very good definition you've given. What I can add on that is I choose to describe self-awareness as the path. When we say we want to travel from point A to point B, there's so many different routes one can use. But if I have self-awareness, if I'm self-aware of what I want to accomplish, of what I want to get, then I will use those values that Coach Joy has mentioned. I will use those emotions that I have, that I know that belong to me, and choose the path that is suitable for me. My path will not be the same path as what Coach Joy chooses. It will not be the same path as any of our viewers is going to choose, because our values, they are all different. Our values, they differ from person to person, because they are unique and they're very, very personal. So my first point is self-awareness presents choices that help in leading change. What do I mean by that? For instance, yesterday I was discussing with some friends about childhood wounds, things that we experienced when we were children, but we never knew how to deal with them. Once we become aware of these wounds, for example, there's abandonment wound, there is betrayal wound, there is guilt wound, there is neglect wound. Once you know, or you are aware of the type of wound that you suffered as a child, or the type of trauma that you suffered, then getting the diagnosis or knowing how to deal with that becomes easier for you. But if you just put it like it's just normal, you are just experiencing some childhood problems, it will not be easy for you to pivot yourself or to learn how you're going to do that. So you're able to address the specific wound or issue, And finally, it's like when you go to see a doctor, the doctor does not tell you, okay, Joy, you're here to see me. Okay, take this Panadol, go and drink. No. The doctor will send you to the lab. The doctor will ask you questions. How are you feeling? Are you able to sleep at night? It's the same thing with self-awareness. Once you become aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, it helps you to move to a certain direction or to take a certain path that is going to help you to do that change that you want in your life. Over to you.
Very true. My first point is going to be, as being self-aware, it gives you the power to influence outcomes. And this, it could be, I could give an example of the leaders.
Mm-hmm.
When you are a leader and you are self-aware, it builds on your confidence. And when it builds on your confidence, you are able to lead well. You know your strength and your weaknesses. So most cases, leaders forget that they have weaknesses just like their subordinates. And the
Mm-hmm.
moment they understand their weaknesses, it helps them to to give them to the others to do better. So
Mm-hmm.
they do more of what their strengths are, and then the weaknesses they give them to other people to run them. So what does self-aware do? Well, it gives you the power. The moment you have the power to influence the outcomes that come out of the decisions you make, because as a decision maker, it's not even just, I think I should say, it's not just about leaders. Even
Mm-hmm.
us, like we are mindset shift CEOs, even us as mindset CEOs, because anyone is a CEO of their life.
Yes.
So if you remember that when you're self-aware, because when you're not so self-aware, it's very, very, very hard for you to have
Mm-hmm.
power over influence and the outcomes. So the moment you have that power, it's very, very, very hard for people to put you down, because first of all, you have self-confidence. I'm a self-confidence coach, and I'm very, very aware that
Mm-hmm.
before, when you tell me I don't have confidence, the first question I'll ask you, what makes you think you are not confident?
Mm-hmm.
Because most cases we look at the things around us, or the things around the people around us, and we think because you're not a certain way, that means you're not confident. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's always good to be self-aware, because it gives you the power to influence the outcomes from yourself to others. Back to you, Coach Jay.
That's a very good point. My second point is going to be self awareness enables you to be a better leader, just to build on what you've said. And when I say leader, I'm not talking about the leaders, like the typical leaders in organizations. Everyone is a leader, as Coach Joya said. We are all CEOs. So when we, in whatever we are doing, we are leaders in our own way. Are you a father? Are you a mother? You're leading your family. Are you an older brother, an older sister? Your younger sisters, you're the one who is leading them. So we are all leaders in each and everything, in every arena of our lives. So when we become self-aware, things that happen is that skills such as active listening, empathy, critical thinking, and all these things, they come together. And when you start to possess these things, you become a better leader or a better example for those who are looking up to you. And the benefits of self-awareness, they don't stop with you. What happens is when I become self-aware, I'm able to lead other people better. I'm able to look after you, Coach Joy. I'm able to look after my younger sister. I'm able to look after my friend, my neighbor. So we are able to understand other people. We're able to understand how we can deal with these people. This is where empathy comes in. So you find that things like conflicts, we don't experience conflict because our awareness. I know when I get irritated, so I start learning how to deal with that. I know when I'm with Coach Joy, I get irritated a lot, so how do I deal with that? I have to find a way either to have that conversation with Coach Joy or to avoid Coach Joy, just to avoid that that idea of having these arguments. So you become everyone's, like, you start understanding everyone's feelings when you become self-aware, and you also start seeing the experiences. You become a better listener, which is essential again in empathy. So when you are self-aware, you become a better leader. And with leadership, you're not just saying corporate leaders, we are seeing leaders in our everyday lives. In whatever we are doing, we are leaders in something, you are a leader somewhere. Without you knowing or putting it in your mind, if you look closely, there's somebody who is looking up to you. You are a leader to that person. Over to you.
So the other point I'm going to give is it decreases stress. I've been reading about stress because the kind of work I do can get you into a stress mode, and I'm one person who has a mindset that I can only let something control me if I let it.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to know that, being self-aware of myself, that if I get more informed, if I get more aware of how to decrease stress, ways on how to decrease it, then it
Mm-hmm.
helps me.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to anyone out there. The moment you start noticing, like for example, Coach J is a stress management coach. So if you are aware that there are things that stress you out, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a clue on how to control them, what do? You get a coach, because sometimes research cannot get you anywhere if you're not self aware.
Yeah.
So if you become self aware of exactly what stresses you, what situations get you into stress, what people get you into stress, because there are some people who can stress you out. So when you get to understand that these people stress me out, when you're around them, you have to change your dynamics around them. And then
Mm.
when you're around people who don't stress you at all, of course, it's a different thing. So being self-aware reduces your stress or decreases your stress. I will not say takes away your stress because sometimes things we don't expect can stress us, yet they're not meant to stress us. So when you become self-aware of what stress is, even what stress means, because sometimes we say, I am stressed. Oh my God, I'm too stressed. Why do I always feel stressed? And when they ask you, what makes you stressed? You're like, I just feel stressed. So you don't even know what stresses you out. You just want to use the word. And just like we talked before about negative talk, the moment you start speaking about something, you become it. Yeah. The moment you keep saying, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, you become stressed. So, how about you become self aware of those things that stress you, other than just saying, I'm stressed? You become aware of the things and situations that stress you, then you start working them out so that you live a more happier life, so that you're able to regulate your emotions. And of course, when you regulate your emotions, you live a more happier life, you know? That's your Coach Jay.
That's a very good point, and I'll have to chip in as a stress management coach. And one thing I wanted to say is that we give a lot of weight on stress, or we give a lot of credit to stress. Some things they don't even qualify to be like stress triggers, but because it's a common word that we often use, it's a simple getaway. We just keep using the word stress, 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 stress. We forget that this word is getting imprinted in our minds. And what does our subconscious mind do? It starts how do I capturing those moments. So whenever I see Kojoy, I get stressed for nothing. I just get stressed. So instead of saying we are stressed, how about we start saying I am uncomfortable with this situation? So when we move away from the stress word, we start saying the uncomfortable bit, even the mindset itself it starts shifting. But because we've given a lot of weight on the stress word, when we just use stress, it's like the whole world has stopped. Everything has stopped. But when you're uncomfortable, let's say you're wearing a pair of high heels, Coach Joy, and you feel like no, you cannot walk anymore. What do?
Take it off.
Exactly. So when we use the word like I am uncomfortable with this situation, you start asking yourself, how can I deal with this situation to make it not like just to get rid of it? I don't want to feel uncomfortable anymore. Because when we use the word stress, we don't look for solutions. But when we are uncomfortable, we will do everything in our power to make sure that we get a solution for that. So my other point is self-awareness helps us achieve our goals. What are goals? Goals are things that we want to get. And when you're self aware, we're always told to do the SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? And when you identify these pillars, I call them pillars in your life, you're able to see where you thrive most. Because if you don't do this, you might find that you are spending a lot of time in places where you don't thrive the most. and forgetting the areas where you can thrive the most. So you concentrate on things that don't are not even beneficial to you. Living the things that can make you happier. As Coach Jay has said, the goal is to live a happier life. Things that can make you happier. So at the end of the day, you go to bed, you're not happy, you're uncomfortable because things didn't go as planned. Well, there was an easy 1 plus 1, which was equals to 2, that was meant for you because that's your strength. So many skills that we have, or when you understand your skills, you're able to make good decisions. You're able to analyze situations. You're able to become you know what's good for you, and this helps you to hit your goals. It helps you. We hear people say, I work 2 hours, but I make this amount of money. Why? This person became self aware. This person knew where they thrive the most. So, what do? They are capitalizing on that. Self awareness enable them to know where they are thriving, where they are working best. I was watching one lady today. I used to work with her like 3, 4 years ago, and right now she is a mom's influencer here in UAE. And she says her journey started when she wanted to build a brand, and then she asked herself, what am I good at? And that is how she realized. People always tell her, you're glowing. Nobody can even say you're a CS mom. You have 3 babies, 3 years, but nobody can even say you have even one child, because she identified where her strength is. And 3 years later, business is good, because that is where she's most comfortable. That is where she even with the blink of an eye, she's able to do what she does best. So once you become self-aware, your goals become so easy to hit. Over to you.
That is very true. So, what I'm going to go to is building better relationships. When we become self-aware of ourselves, we get to know what we are good at and what we are not good at. So when we are around other people, when we are around friends, when we are around family, colleagues, even maybe acquaintances, people that we've just met, we are self-aware of our strength being around people.
Mm,
I'll give an example of myself. So over the years, everyone has called me extrovert. Yeah,
mhm,
because I'm one person who loves life out there. Like I love traveling. I love the outdoors. You don't keep me indoors. I love the outdoors. And when I host or when I socialize, I'm all out. And everyone around me just termed me as extrovert. Extrovert. You're an extrovert. And when I moved to UAE, I started realizing I think I'm not an extrovert. Because I started realizing I preferred being home more than being out. And when I was out, I was all out. But when I was home, I loved my me time, you know? You could actually tell me, hey, what's up? Are you up for a drink or are you up for coming out? And I'm like, oh, I'm busy. But
mhm,
literally, I'm just sitting on the couch watching Netflix and eating popcorn. And that is my, I don't know, my heaven, just
mhm,
sitting in the house and just being cozy. So I started realizing when I'm around people, I'm all out. I want to know people. People get to know me. I socialize. I network. I'm very good at all these things. So I got to realize that I'm an ambivert. So what am I trying to build at? When we get to know who we are without people terming us. Because when people termed me, I was okay. I was like, yes, I'm an extrovert. When everyone called me extrovert, I accepted it as an extrovert. Until I went in a different environment that got me to realize that I'm not just an extrovert, actually. I'm an introvert, you know?
mm,
And most people are. Most people are ambiverts. Most people are just not extroverts or introverts. But there are people who are extremely introverts. And there are people who are extremely extroverts. But
mm,
then there are people who are in between. So you can balance both.
mm,
So what am I getting at? What I'm saying is when I'm around my friends or family, they want you all out. They want to have a good time. Especially my mom, she wants all out when she's with you. So that is what I give her. And then when I'm with my dad, because I know my dad is a very reserved man, I'm
mhm,
going to just be us, like literally just talking, maybe just even reading a book together. So When you become self-aware of who you are without people terming you and giving you names of who you are, it becomes very, very easy for you to know how to relate and build relationships around you. Back to you, Coach Jay.
Well, that's you've actually expounded on the top on the point I wanted to talk about. On it allows you to lead authentic lives, and as Coach Joy has said, it's more of you knowing what works best for you. You knowing that okay, everybody is going this direction, but nah, I'm not going that direction because that's not me. That's not what I want, and that is what is happening in today's era, age and era, with social media and everything. We find ourselves wanting something that is not for us. We all want to be on social media, but not all of us want to be out there. But because of this pressure, you don't know what you want. You just want to do what everybody else is doing. You're not your authentic self. You end up being stressed, you end up being pressured, you end up being like disappointed because things are not working for you. But you forget that that was not your cat, that was not your life, that is not who you are, those are not your values, those are not the things that make you pop out. We are all unique in our own ways. I am unique in my way. Coach Joy is unique in her own way. Anyone who is watching us is unique in their own ways. And once we discover what makes us unique, what makes us tick, then that becomes our number one way of living authentic selves. And one way you can do that is if you do the SWOT analysis and you're not able to identify what is your unique point, make it a conversation with friends or people who know you well. Ask them, when you are with me, or what do you like about me, or what do you know about what we're sparking you, and you will notice a pattern. Myself, I remember I asked my friends in 2019, what is it that you know about me, or what when I'm with you, what difference do I make? And everybody's like, oh, you give us good advice, you give us good. That is something, a pattern that I noticed, and that's when I realized, like, hey, this is something that you can work on. This is because I've always wanted to be a coach. So this is something that told me you are on the right track. So these people, they have identified what you do and it is what you want. So I started becoming more self-aware, which led me to doing the coaching certification, which led me to meeting amazing people because we share that circle. So when you are self-aware, you're able to lead your authentic life. My last point is going to be it will help you to manage criticism. You don't take feedback as criticism. No. Rather, you take it as a learning opportunity. In NLP, we learn that there is no failure, just feedback. So you save time by becoming productive instead of thinking, why did Coach Joy say why did Coach Joy say my hair is not good? Why did she say I did not do a good presentation? You start asking yourself other questions that will make you become more productive. When you're able to analyze all this information that other people give you without putting it here or having grudges or doing anything, you live a much more happier life. You avoid these uncomfortable situations that you keep hearing that I had so and so gossiped me. So that one makes you uncomfortable. How about you ask yourself, what is it that I did different that made them gossip me? Maybe I'm good at what I do. You cannot please everybody. That's the one thing we have to realize. And that is why self awareness is very important. You look at things that matter to you. Take that feedback as feedback and don't take it as criticism. Oh, they hate me. I'm not good at this. I'm bad at that. Mm-mm. Remember that whatever opinion or whatever thing that I tell you, it comes from my own point of view. And whatever you do from that side, it's from your own point of view. So if you're self aware of what you're doing and you know you're right, why should you be bothered? Why should that even make you feel uncomfortable? So when you're self-aware, you become your authentic self. Over to you.
Yeah, actually, that's very true. Most cases, when we're in situations, everyone sees what they want to see. A nine, someone else is going to see it as a six, another person is going to see it as a nine. So we all have our perception about situations. My next point is going to be it frees us from our assumptions and biases.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, I'm going to share something. Most cases, we concentrate on the why.
Mm-hmm.
Why me? Why am I being put in these situations? And yet there is no way to answer the question since we don't have access to our unconscious mind. So every time you use the why question, you're going into your unconscious mind. An unconscious mind only takes what you give it. It never gives you anything. It only takes, and then puts it out, maybe in a picture for you, because you're making it a reality. So every time you do the why, it's not happiness at all.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we should try the what.
Yeah.
Use the word what, because when you use the word, the why takes you into a rabbit hole of negative thoughts. When I say, why doesn't Coach J like me? Why doesn't Coach J talk to me? Why doesn't Coach J help me? You're asking why instead of finding out from her, because the
Mm.
why is in your head. You've not even told her anything. You've not asked for help from her. But all you're saying is, why doesn't Coach J help me? How is she going to know you need help without asking for help from her? So we do the why too much and blame others, because the why goes to blame, the why goes to negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we could start using the word what. Asking the what question puts us into an objective, an open space for considering all factors influencing a particular outcome. I'll give an example. Why don't I ask? Why don't I speak up at meetings?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I speak up at meetings? Instead, we could use the word, what can I do to overcome my fear of speaking up at meetings? And when we find the what, then it becomes easier to, first of all, find a solution.
Mm.
Instead of thinking of the problem, why can't I speak at an event? Why can't I stand in front of people and speak? Instead of doing the why and putting myself into a negative situation, putting yourself into a negative situation, instead do the what. What can I do to overcome the fear? Then there you find yourself getting a confidence coach to help you,
Mm-hmm.
or someone to help you manage that stress that you're actually putting yourself into, if it is stress anyway. So I'll give an example of my sister. So Sandra is going to find out more about content regarding that situation of why instead of what. If she has been given an opportunity to speak at an event that Coach J has hosted, and she tells Coach J, "Oh, Coach J, why have you chosen me to speak?" And Coach J is like, "Because I see the ability in you."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, if Coach J shows her, you know, the way, the steps, her being aware and using the word what instead of why, because she has come with why, right? So Coach J is going to tell her why, what makes you think? Because most cases we use the what when we are doing the NLP. What makes you think you can't speak in public? And then you see all the reasons coming out: because I shake, because I shiver, because I feel I don't have a good voice. And
Mm-hmm.
then as a coach, you are able to help you. They're able to help you become aware of the things you are actually maybe scared of or fear, like your fears, so that you actually become a good speaker.
Speaker, yeah.
So in my conclusion, I'm going to say, asking the right questions empowers us to become different in our choices, and it brings different results. So we should always concentrate on what instead of the why, if we want to get solutions for problems, if we want to get solutions for situations that we are in. Back to your question.
That's a very amazing point, and it just made me think that sometimes we say we have fear of public speaking, we have fear of something, and when you ask somebody the what question, you might hear somebody say, you know, one time so and so went and spoke in front of the crowd and people laughed or they stammered or they did this. So because we are basing our judgment or our assumptions based on other people, and this is where we put a pause and say, no, this is you, you are an individual, that is another individual. What makes you think that when you go on that in front of that crowd, people are going to laugh at you? What makes you think that you're going to fail miserably? These are all mindset things that we put for ourselves. And the moment you decide to step out of that and decide, like, you know what, there is no failure. I'll just go there. If I don't perform as expected, I will learn from that. How are you going to learn if you don't give it a try? How are you going to start that business if you don't go in and see how deep the well goes? How are you going to know if you keep going on social media and seeing, oh, she has done so well, he's doing, okay, I wish. Until when are we going to do the wishful thinking? Sometimes you just have to wake up, put on the shoes, and just start going. You have the goal, keep going. Today it will be good, tomorrow it will be better, tomorrow you'll go 2 steps back until you get to your destination. So as I conclude, I'd like to say that there are three ways you can do the self awareness check. One is by reflection, just by having that you time asking yourself these unique questions. The other way you can do that is by doing a SWOT analysis. Find out your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. You can do this with a mentor. You can do this with a coach if you feel like when you're alone, you're not really authentic with yourself. And the third way you can do this using something we call Johari window. It has 4 areas. The first area is open to self. These are things that you know to yourself and to others, things that Coach Joy knows about me and I know about myself. The other part is called blind self. This is information about myself that I don't know and others don't know. And then there's hidden self. This is information about you that you know, but others don't know. And then finally, there's unknown self. Nobody knows that ability about you. So you can always look up the Johari window. There's a lot of information online that can guide you how you can do that. It's one way of us getting to know ourselves better. It's one way of us making 2023 a better year for ourselves because we have identified where we are unique. So that brings us to the end of our 2022 live videos. We will be taking a break and we will be seeing you guys next year in January. It has been an amazing, how many months? 3 months since we started. Yeah, it has been impactful. We have grown. We appreciate the feedback from you guys. And next year, we are planning to make it even better. We are planning to have guests on board. So it's going to be a powerful year. Let me just say powerful, full of learning and relearning, collaborations, anything that comes to mind that is going to make us grow. Because at the end of the day, we want to empower, we want to impact, we want to transform our lives. Any last words, Coach Joy, for 2022?
So for 2023, I'll be saying 2022 has been amazing. Like, I'm not one person who looks at regrets or who looks at the things that I didn't do right. I'm only going to look at what I'm grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful I've learned a lot this year. I've gained a lot this year. I've met amazing people this year, and I know next year is going to be better. But before I go into next year, I'm going to read something about self-aware. So self-awareness is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a road. You're on a road. And when you're on a road, what are you doing? You're on a journey going somewhere, whether you're on foot, whether you're in a car, whether
Mm-hmm.
you're actually on a journey up in the air in a plane. Self-awareness is like a road. So
Mm-hmm.
you are on a journey, on a road of self-awareness. So the most self-aware people see themselves on a quest to mystery or mastery. Yeah, you could use either of those words, how you want to see it. So rather than at a particular destination, as you move forward in developing your self-awareness, ask yourself regularly, how will you move toward the best version of yourself today, tomorrow, but mostly today? So, what am I going to say about 2023? Look at 2023 becoming a better version of yourself every day. Not just, oh, January, yes, January, you're going to do it. Look at yourself becoming a better version of yourself starting from every day of the month, beginning from January, first day, second day, to the end of 2023. What I'll be concluding with is a happy new year and a Merry Christmas. Yes, I can't wait to spend time with family, and I really need the break. But it
Mm-hmm.
will not take me away from updating and just letting people know that actually this year has been amazing, and we are preparing for next year. I've been doing some updates on how to prepare yourself for 2023. And as a mindset shift CEO, you are a CEO of your life. Do not forget that. No one should tell you otherwise. You can fire, you can hire, huh?
Yes.
You can block. It is your life. You
Yes.
only allow the people you want to allow in it. It's like an office. You can only let in the people you want to let in. So that's the same thing with your life. Back to you, Coach Jay.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have the right to fire. Our lives are like a garden. If you feel like someone is a weed or someone is not giving you any productivity, it's okay to let it go. One book I will encourage everybody to read. Coach Joy has talked about taking every day to hitting your goals. Read Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits, it helps us to learn the power of small habits. You start by doing small things as you build to bigger things. And if you're watching us and you're looking to join a book club, be sure to look out Coaching Minds. They have a book club. They have a list of book clubs coming up, list of books for next year. They're going to be amazing, impactful. If you've always wanted to join a book club, it is your chance to do that. We will see you guys next year. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Bye bye.
Bye bye.